What's up, it's Nez, and hello everyone, welcome back to The Letter. Last episode, well, after having a little spat with the group, we came over to G's bar to get some rest. Now the sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually trickle in into the main lounge until it reaches peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for some kind of business G runs. He's always complained about the lack of a decent crowd on week start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover after all, even him. With the kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Something wrong, G?
Is there something wrong, G? G hums, and there's an undertone of annoyance in it despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table, does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kid. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
Another question forms in my head along with a small confused frown. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, Rebecca's irate voice rings out at some part of the main lounge. From the sound of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed is a complete understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there. But we don't have any other choice, Becca! There's really no other way. We have to go there. If you'll just... Isabella, no.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in an argument with Isabella, it usually ends up with one of them walking out or both giving the other the silent treatment. It lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. I've hoped the bad blood from this morning will simply blow over after all of us have gotten a decent rest. I should have expected things won't be the same with them as it is with Zach and I. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. A nervous edge lingers in his eyes as it occasionally flickers over to where Rebecca and Isabel's voices are coming from. He doesn't want to deal with us, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before without Zach or I meddling. But the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It feels almost like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing. Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already shouting like that, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's. But part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even know. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before this all turns into a shitstorm both of them will regret. And I know both of them will. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude, or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other's childlike demeanor, it's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot them in an almost deserted area of the pub. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's cross. I can't speak for Isabella, I rarely see her seething, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she's glaring up at the redhead from her seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have been left neatly piled on one corner of the table they occupy, a conversation that turns sour sometime after late lunch then. Good thing they're already done and nothing's left to be spilled. Because in the next moment, before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends the silverware clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily, we both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this let a ghost everything.
You're blaming me again.
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess. You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you. If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone. when in fact you're the one who's being selfish. I'm the one who's selfish. Yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache. You know why I had to come here. My dad. Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Yeah, you have no fucking balls, Ash. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca slammed the flat of her hand on the table, or the second I've entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one of it digging a wound too deep in the person they've been aimed at. For a long time, Isabel sits there in silence, while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet each other's eyes. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. A strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break, until the ones at its center does so. Rebecca definitely won't. At some point in our friendship, she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never going to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabel, on the other hand, there's always been a certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating as it is to see sometimes, it's what's gotten her through her life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has. When you have nothing else, people tend to cling on what they have within themselves instead. But she knows when to withdraw. A struggle turns useless. A kind of awareness almost second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabel abruptly stands and marches towards the exit, in fast, rigid steps away from the hurt and painful words they've let fly earlier. She bumps into me in her haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instinct kicks in at the last moment and I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steadying grip. Surprise filts across her face and an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Neither of them have noticed me. However, that doesn't mean I won't have things to say about this. Take Isabel's side, agree with Rebecca. Oh, come on. Fuck you, game. Again with this fucking love triangle. Fuck this. You know what? I've constantly seen the whole fandom ship Isabel and Ash. And quite frankly, I've had enough of it in this fucking stupid love triangle. I'm taking Rebecca's side.
Okay.
Let go, Ashton.
Rebecca has a point though.
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there. That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need. I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
It's not that I don't agree with her. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have, after all. But Rebecca also has a point I will always agree with, no matter how desperate I am. It's not going to be a simple walk in the park. Who knows what we might find in there? We'll find Marianne. If she comes with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be in even greater danger. Hence, alone. Exactly as I told Zach. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Anything to keep her safe.
Forget it, Belle. You're not going back to that mansion.
But Ash, what about...
This isn't up for debate. Do you really think they'll just let you in? Do you really think they'll give a damn if you walk in there carrying that stupid letter of all things?
No, but there has to be something we can tell them.
Look, I really can't let you do that, Belle.
Ash, the people living in that place now. They were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are.
I know, but it's risky. It's dangerous. You don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it to put yourself in harm's way like that.
Isabella offers no response, not even a form of resistance. No further argument like I've come to expect from her, uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin, till the air in the whole room grows heavy. She merely averts her gaze and hastily wipes the tears off her cheeks. Like she only noticed them in that moment. Then, without another word or even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella has just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. Arguments like this have always drained both her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. In the quietness of the room, I find myself drifting towards her and taking the empty seat next to her. Shortly, she leans her shoulders to mine, like she used to all those years ago. Back when all that mattered to us were grades and what kind of trouble we'll get into next weekend. No curse, no letter, no ghosts. Just us and wherever our imagination will take us.
How are you holding up?
Barely, but I'll be fine. It's probably just this curse thing getting to me.
That bad, huh?
Excuse me, you're stuck in this nightmare too. And then there's Isabella just being frustrating.
You don't mean that.
She makes a face, having been caught in her lie before allowing a small smile to replace it.
Yeah, you're right. I don't. She might act like that, but in the end, she's still my best friend.
And your fucking rival, apparently.
I should probably apologize later.
Your fights never did last long.
They're always so petty these days. I just can't wait for this whole thing to be over. That way we can go back to how everything used to be.
You know that's impossible.
A truth bomb. And we both falter into silence in the face of it. Her mouth opens briefly and I assume she's about to argue her opinion about it. Maybe say something contrary to it. But eventually she simply nods, breathes out and relaxes her rigid posture. A rare occurrence when she mostly always has something on her mind. Seeing it, a smile spreads across my face, knowing and perhaps a little pleased. It's one thing to know of change. Watching it play out in front of me is an entirely different matter. In one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years, we will never be the same person we once were. And perhaps it's for the better. Rebecca notices soon enough, like she always did. Whatever she sees in my face startles her, causing her to jerk away.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Nothing. Don't mind me.
I know that look, Ashton Frey. That's definitely not a nothing. You wouldn't be wearing that expression if you didn't have something on your mind.
Really? It's nothing. It's just that when we were kids, you weren't really the kind of person who spoke her mind. Someone else always had to stand up for you. You've changed a lot, Becca.
What did you expect? It's been, what, 17, 18 years?
What I'm trying to say is, I think I like this version of you more.
Oh my god, just go, Ashton. Go with your childhood love, get this love triangle fucking over with. A beat.
Except when you're mad, and you're yelling, and you're glaring daggers at everyone. You're pretty scary, you know.
Well, don't say that so casually. Also, if you're just going to complain, we might as well just end this talk right now.
See what I mean? Even Z-Man's scared of you. I'd bet my entire salary on it.
She swats at my arm, the gesture light and familiar. It causes us to both burst into peals of laughter afterwards. When was the last time we shared something like this? I can't even remember. It's nice though. Have another conversation like this to sit side by side simply enjoying each other's company. I'm not very fond of looking back to the past. Most of it means having to remember unpleasant things for me, but sometimes coiled around the bad, there are good ones. And Rebecca's there for the most of it. Things may change, but her friendship is one thing I will hold dear. God damn it, once again in the friend zone. You may meet new people throughout our lives, but that doesn't mean I will care any less for her. Which makes this whole business with the letter even more urgent. Well, Rebecca's right, Isabel's reasoning also makes sense. Hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have after all. With what's at stake, I can't let this curse win, if such a thing even makes sense when dealing with the supernatural. Tonight, by any means, I need to go back to that accursed place. Alone, because who knows what we might find in there. Whether or not the rest of them agree with the plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. My apprehension must have been quite obvious in my face. In a sudden motion, Rebecca reaches out and taps my arm. Although she does it gently, it startles me nevertheless, and it's enough to put a worried look on her. For a moment, she studies my face, eyes scrutinizing, searching. But before I can even avert my gaze, keep her from getting a read on me, she straightens, her worry abruptly fading into a look of disapproval.
You have a plan in mind, don't you?
Oh yes, we do. It's a simple yes or no question, I can easily lie, yet her tone completely belies everything her words mean. I may as well tell her everything. When all is said and done, she's still one of the few people I trust. However, every vein in my body knows she'll be the first one to disagree, put her foot down and stop me. And once she does, who will be left to fix this? Zach? Isabella? Her? I do understand her concerns, but there are times when they are misplaced. This complication isn't what I need at the moment. But what am I supposed to say? What is she expecting to hear from me? What answer will satisfy her? She certainly appears like she's hoping for more than a yes or no for an answer I can't give at the moment. What else then? Keep her in the dark? Offer a vague answer.
I need to head off somewhere tonight.
A vague answer. It's all I can offer and hopefully this will be enough. It's not an outright lie, but that though doesn't make me feel any less awful about this. It's worse when you know she's asking only because she's worried. Part of me wants to tell her, admit that Isabel's suggestion is exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do though? I've already told Zach, one person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening the circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware at least of where I'm heading off to in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst in case I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. My own words, risky. Rebecca doesn't need to know what kind of danger I might be throwing myself in tonight. She should prioritize herself and her own safety first before others. But it's never that easy with her, isn't it?
Am I allowed to ask questions this time?
You're asking one right now, aren't you?
It's a serious question, Ashton. Yes or no?
You can, but I can't promise I'll answer them.
That's a nice way of saying no. You might as well just tell me to shut up.
You know I don't mean it like that.
Is there something I can do at least?
For an instant, I hesitate, pausing, fumbling for an answer. It's more difficult with her, because all this time she still looks at me as if I'm the same kid from years ago. Who she depended on when she has yet to find herself, who she turned to for answers despite my lack of them. It makes me all the more afraid to fuck up this time. All in case I do, she's the last person I want to be with me. Getting her into trouble? Getting her killed is not how I want to repay the friendship she has so generously offered after all these years. My friends aren't supposed to be the ones taking the repercussions of my mistakes. Those are of my own doing, of my own responsibility. A fear, a heavy weight on my shoulders they should be dragged into carrying. However, if there's one thing I can trust her with...
Stay safe. Keep the others safe. Watch over them while I'm out there. Make sure no one does anything stupid. You're good with that kind of stuff.
I'm a high school teacher, Ash. Not anyone's babysitter.
A grimace is on her face, but I know she'll do it, even without me asking for it. She cares more than anyone, more than what her fiery temper expresses. And it eases something in me knowing the others will have someone like her here. Sure enough, after a stretch of silence, she eventually nods. She doesn't entirely agree with this, it's in the distant look on her face, but she's willing to trust me on this. For now, that's enough. Either way, it's best that we simply leave things here for now. There's already an understanding, albeit something we both don't agree with, no need to push it further. With a light reassuring squeeze on her shoulder, I stand up as soon as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly, Isabel comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her, and sporting the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look, then shifts a nervous one to Rebecca, who studies her with a curious gleam in her eyes. Their fights never did last long.
Becca, are you free? Am I interrupting something? If it's okay, can we talk?
Her interruption could not have come sooner, and I'm all the more glad for it. Whatever kind of friendship I share with the two, this remains something for only the two of them, much like my own with Zach. I'm the outsider, they don't need me here. It's all the reason I need. Muttering an excuse and flashing Rebecca a quick knowing smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. Before Rebecca can say what's on her mind. Before the last frustrated glare she directs my way forces me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory, one that spurs a conscience among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. On the way back to the mansion we go. Galway Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight, with the lively music and chatter slipping out mostly unseen becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble, soon enough I find myself standing outside under the Luxborn night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of an impending rain. I give it an hour or two before it starts. Of course it's gonna rain tonight. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket, hugging its thick material closer to my body while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, though I pay it no mind as I hurry toward my car. I've nicked it minutes ago from Isabel's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need this damn piece of paper with me. However ridiculous it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed either, but I can't waste time here and wait for it to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. 3 if I'm inclined to go by the rules Z-Man said, but when have I ever? Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule, especially in horror games. And it does. Did something happen to Shirley? In the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Uh-oh. Oh. Rebecca? Rebecca turns as I near, the corners of her mouth twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless, merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up to the starless sky when I come to stand beside her. Another gust of wind blows as she breathes a sigh, wary, thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away while she hugs her arms closer to herself to keep warm, which raises the question why she's out here. The air is already heavy with the promise of rain, with clouds obscuring the view. There's really nothing left to look at but the dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands here as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word, express a disapproval of any kind, she raises a halting hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you. Wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight, I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside.
Are we gonna get a confession, a final goodbye?
Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice. Even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
It'll be over soon.
The confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? When in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. If this fails, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead we have. After this, we have nothing else to go off from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds from above the murmur of the distant traffic and the light draft sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try, but you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
No, I don't think that's what she means, Ash.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. And it made me realize plenty of things. About myself, about us.
Oh my, Rebecca trails off. Suddenly a pensive expression spreads across her face. I've seen it countless times before. And every time I see it on her, it's usually followed by a memory. A silly story or something embarrassing I've said from childhood. Unlike me, who'll much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. And after a short bout of silence when she smiles, I know this is one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time, back in secondary?
Which one? We did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I thought you still don't like her. Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Oh no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
We're definitely going down her route, everyone. She makes it sound like I'm some sort of hero. Mandy was in the wrong, of course, I'll defend her. If no one's going to stand up for her, who else will? Chances are it would have escalated, and who knows, maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is right. It's as simple as that. Yet she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this time, I don't want this to go unsaid.
Is it happening? Is it finally happening?
You know, just in case something happens.
It's happening.
Ash, I've always been in love with you.
Yes! Yes! Fuck Isabella and Ash! Let the love triangle die out and burn, we have the true OTP. She says it so plainly, holding my gaze and in a voice too frank, that her admission stuns me into silence. Like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought as the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she has kept to herself all these years. This is what the fondness is. Why, for her, it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, there is a relief, a weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders after so long. She closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back at me though, there's nothing but hope in them, eyes that are searching for an answer. Facing the sincerity behind her words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for words. Because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's asking from me. Fuck! Fuck you, Gabe! Fuck you! We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold feelings for her that goes beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she's stuck with me even through the toughest moments, even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca,
Fuck you, Ash! I am so gonna get you killed! I'm gonna get you killed by the end of this chapter. I draw in a breath, ragged, unsure. Uncertain how and which words to put together so it will hurt her less, so the wounds they might leave won't be as deep as a scar. In the end, I can only utter an apology.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
Fuck!
I'm glad, I'm happy you feel that way, but I can't. I can't. There's already someone that I'm in love with.
And she has no fucking interest in you either.
Someone else.
You see, everyone, this is why you never put a fucking love triangle in a horror game. It creates contrived drama that means nothing in the end. It takes all my willpower to force myself to even look at her. For sure there will be hurt. Maybe she'll even be angry, and I don't hold it against her. But when our eyes meet again, a smile's on her face. Kinder than every single one I've seen from her so far. It's nice to see it on her. It suits her more than the glares or frowns. At the same time, it only serves to baffle me.
It's alright. I already knew. Kind of.
Yeah, but I should...
Don't beat yourself up over this. It's not your fault. I'm the one who should apologize. Since I suddenly sprung this up on you when you have other things to do, I just thought I should let you know. And now that you've given me an answer, I guess I can finally let this whole thing go, huh?
Well, at least one of them grew up as people. Ash is still fucking useless.
One question though. Are you going to tell her?
Tell what to who?
I pause, frowning. A brief moment of doubt while I try to figure out what she's talking about all of a sudden. When it finally sinks in though, my bewilderment hastily gives way to utter embarrassment. Oh, yeah, it's so fucking blatant, Ash.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, the only reason why Isabella never found out is because she's as dense as shit as you. Heat abruptly crawls up my face no matter my efforts to keep it down. In the end, I can only look away from her, afraid of what else she'll see in it.
Did you really think no one would notice?
Was it that obvious?
It was surprisingly easy to tell. But that was probably because I've known you longer than anyone.
Fuck, who else knows?
Probably Zach. Not Isabel, though.
I think Zach suspects.
Shit.
You're embarrassingly lame when you're trying too hard. It's almost painful to watch. Don't worry. With your terrible way of flirting and knowing her, I'm quite sure Belle has no idea, even now. Not even a clue.
Harsh, Rebecca. Really harsh. I could use a vote of confidence, you know.
She laughs, loud, the kind that's free from any burden, ringing above the wind slowly picking up as the storm clouds approach. With it, however, the awkward atmosphere lifts at last. There's only that camaraderie we've shared since meeting in that classroom 17 years ago.
I'm serious though. Tell her, and if you ever make her cry, I'll hit you with every damn history book I have on my shelf. Clear?
Oh, that's not gonna happen because we're gonna get Ash killed. That's been our plan since the start of the game and we're pushing through with it.
Noted, ma'am.
Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you'll be careful, alright?
Oh no, we won't be careful. We'll go after every single dangerous thing we find. She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she gives me a push with a force only heavy enough to throw me off balance. Caught unaware by the gesture for a few moments, I fight for purchase against my car's trunk, raising my hand on the smooth surface. When I look up with a string of reprimands ready at the tip of my tongue, Rebecca's already halfway through the parking lot. There's a small skip in her steps, while the breeze carries the light tune she's whistling. On a whim, I let its notes be the last thing I commit to memory before slipping back inside my car and driving off. It sounds like a new beginning more than anything. Another reason to be optimistic. Oh, Ash, prepare to die. We're gonna kill you. You are the embodiment of all the cliches in this game, and we won't end this game without you getting brutally murdered. So stay tuned, everyone. We're on a witch hunt for Ash's death. But until then, my name is Nez, and thanks for watching. See you all next time. Bye, everyone. We have a detective to kill.